Big tech, big tech, big tech, big tech, big tech. There's a lot we can and should be doing about big tech right now. Big tech, big tech. A lot of complaining and a lot of hoopla, and though a lot of people have figured out what exactly we should be doing right now, most people have not. So here it is. I believe we are at a pivotal moment right now, maybe one of the last moments, and that this is an opportunity that we cannot let go of, where we have a real chance at reining in the power of big tech. Given our current trajectory, we are so close to finding ourselves in a state where the government has explicit control over what we can or cannot say. Let's call this the bad trajectory. And without getting too much into the weeds here on this, because it's a complicated issue, I'd just like to say that this is going to come out primarily by two means. Firstly, internet service providers will start doing the same thing we are seeing other private companies do. They will decide what content will or will not be served, regardless of where that content is hosted. And because of current, already existing right-of-way laws, we won't be able to do much about it. If the only internet service provider in your area decides that they will not serve you the content that you want access to, because the left deems it dangerous, then you will just not have access to that website. 2. A Trojan horse by the name of Section 230. Yes, I realize that this puts me at odds with most conservatives, but I think that this is the obvious position. And I would love to do another piece solely on Section 230 because it's a really interesting piece of legislation. But here I would just say that if you're a conservative who thinks that Section 230 is the answer to all of this, or even just that it provides us with some way out, I'd ask you to reconsider that. So here's what we got to do to get ourselves onto the good trajectory. Although what's about to come is mostly a directive for conservatives, particularly in terms of addressing censorship, really a lot of it applies to just anyone who's part of the outrage against big tech. I sketched out this script before the whole GameStop, Wall Street, Robin Hood debacle, but perfect timing. I don't know if we've ever seen the left and the right so united against big tech, or really just this united in general. Here's what conservatives or defenders of liberalism have to do right now. The first thing that we have to do is we have to rediscover the reason behind our positions that we take. Most people just belong to one camp or another, and they haven't done a lot of critical thinking into why they actually believe and hold to the positions that they take. Like, why should we as a culture value free speech? Why is it dangerous to just wipe out entire squares of political discourse just because one group or another deems it dangerous? Why is it better to allow for channels of free-flowing discussion to exist, even if dangerous language is going to be facilitated in those channels? These are questions that we need to be able to answer. After we've come to understand why our positions are reasonable, the second thing we need to do is get off the bench. I mean, really, it's just getting involved is the next part. But what's that look like? What can you actually do to be a part of this? The easiest and most effective thing that you can do is to start having conversations with people about these issues. People that you disagree with. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but it is absolutely worth it, and it is so necessary right now. And the goal here isn't just to go out and argue with people and just try to change enough minds. The aim here is to denormalize the language from the radical left, to reassert our position out onto the political landscape. Look for some opportunities to really speak up. I mean, really, just draw some lines with your family and friends, and don't miss an opportunity to stand up for your ideals. Assert yourself. Say, hey, you know, I'm actually really uncomfortable with what's happening, and it's sad to see that you're a part of this. Make people uncomfortable. This is something that the left does really well. If you really believe that we are going in a dangerous direction, then don't let anyone off the hook when they throw support for that direction. Give them some pushback. Ask what they mean by this. Take offense to what they are saying and show that if they are going to participate in the attack on your ideals, let them know that that is exactly what they are doing and you're going to respond. Third and final. 3. Give support to conservative alternatives. This is, in my opinion, both the easiest thing to do and the most effective thing to do. But for a number of frustrating reasons, it's also the thing that is least likely to be done. Throw some support to conservative content creators. Get behind companies that support your ideals. Cancel the Netflix subscription and move over to something else. There are a lot of platforms right now that are just taking off because they are just capitalizing on the outrage against big tech. So spend a little bit less time on the platforms you normally would. Just shift over to some of these other platforms. Stop giving your money to people who hate you. And yeah, it might suck for a little while. I mean, it might be a little uncomfortable too. But my God, if this is something that you really care about, then just go do something, anything. Just throw some of your weight around out there on the open market. Use the open market to combat this. It's like people don't realize that the right makes up half the damn population. And if we all concentrated our efforts, we could make a lot happen. We need you in this culture war. Please, get involved. My God, if people just realized how much of a difference they could make if they just threw some of their weight around out there. Get off the bench.